Hi, Spicewood kiddos. It's Miss Rayborn here. So this week we're going to talk about recycling and reusing plastic bags. And before we could start, I wanted us to read a book together. And I know you can't see my face, but the illustrations in this book are so beautiful that I really wanted to be sure that you could see them. So that's why we're doing it this way. So the book we're going to read is called One Plastic Bag. It was written by Miranda Paul, and the illustrations are by Elizabeth Zunin. And I'm going to open up, you'll see, right from the beginning, we can really start to see what this is probably going to be about. So One Plastic Bag, it says, Aissatou Chise and the Recycling Women of Gambia. Gambia is a country in Africa that we're going to learn about as we go. It says, Aissatou walks, her chin frozen. Fat raindrops pelt her bare arms. Her face hides in the shadow of a palm leaf basket. Her neck stings with every step. So she's carrying a basket on top of her head that is made out of palm leaves. Traditionally, women carry them. Do you see how she has a little bun on her head? And that's how she carries it around the village. Says, warm scents of burning wood and bubbling peanut stew drift past. Her village is close now, and she lifts her nose to catch the smell. Oh no, so if she lifts her nose up, I wonder what happened. Look, the basket tips. One fruit tumbles, then two, and then 10. The basket breaks, and Aissatou kicks the dirt. So it tipped over and the basket broke, and now all of her vegetables and fruits are in the dirt, and it's raining. This is not a good situation. It says something silky dances past her eyes, softening her anger. It moves like a flag. It is flapping in the wind, and it settles under a tamarind tree. Aissatou slides the strange fabric through her fingers and discovers it can carry things inside. She gathers her fruits in the bag. So she's discovered, blowing in the wind, there was a plastic bag, and she picks it up and she feels it. It feels a little bit different. She discovers you can put things inside of it. So it says, the basket is useless now. She drops it, knowing it will crumble and mix back in the dirt. So because it's made out of palm leaves, this is degradable. It will compost and blend back into the earth. It will not cause any damage. It's not trash. It will become one with the earth again. So she just leaves it there. It says, as she's going back, it says, four goats, greet Aissatou as her grandmother emerges from the kitchen hut. Hurry in before the rain soaks your beautiful mba, which evidently is her dress, I learned, which I'm going to show you how. Aissatou scurries in, and her grandmother serves spicy rice and fish. Rain drums on the creaking aluminum roof. I broke your basket, Aissatou confesses, but I found this. Look, she's sharing the bag with her. Plastic, the grandmother frowns. There's more in the city. So I bet they're starting to see lots of plastic around, which can be very helpful, but also can be harmful. Day after day, Aissatou watches as neighbors tote their things in bright blue or black bags. Children slurp water from tiny holes poked in clear bags, and market trays filled with minties wrapped in plastic and rainbows of plastic. The colors are so beautiful, she thinks, and she swings her bag high, and the handle breaks. The paper escapes, and then 2, and then 10. Oh no. So this bag isn't very sturdy, so it broke, unfortunately. Aissatou shakes the sand off her papers, and another plastic bag floats by. She tucks her things inside, and the worn bag is useless now, so she drops it to the dirt, just like everyone does. There's nowhere else to put it. So her bag broke. She can't use it anymore, so she just leaves it there on the ground. But unlike the basket, which is made out of plant materials and will degrade back into the ground, this bag will not. So, but there's nowhere else for her to put it, so she just leaves the old broken bag there. It says day after day, the bag she dropped is still there. One plastic bag becomes 2, then 10, then 100. Plastic is not beautiful anymore, she thinks. Her feet step down a cleaner path and the thoughts float away. So she's starting to notice, look at all this plastic that's gathering, and something she thought was really beautiful to start with, she's starting to think not so beautiful anymore because everyone is just dropping them on the ground. Years pass and Isatu grows into a woman. She barely notices the ugliness growing around her until the ugliness finds its way to her. So it's continuing to be a problem, but she hasn't really noticed the problem because it looks like she's been busy. It looks like she's having a family of her own. She's probably taking care of kiddos. It says Isatu hears a goat crying and hurries towards her grandmother's house. Why is it all tied up? Where are the other goats? Inside, the butcher is speaking in a low voice. Many goats have been eating these, he said. The bags twist around in their insides and the animals cannot survive. Now 3 of your goats and so many others in the village have died. Her grandmother's powerful shoulders begin to sag, and Isatu must be strong and do something. But what? So goats eat almost everything. They're kind of like pigs, that they go all around and they forage, which means they look for things to eat. So evidently the goats have been eating the bags and it's causing them to be sick and even in very bad cases to die or to pass away. So she knows she has to do something not only to help her grandmother, whose goats have been affected, but also her village. So look what she does. It says, Isatu's feet lead her to the old, ugly road. A pile of garbage stands as wide as her grandmother's cooking hut. So it's a big pile. It's not a small pile. It's a really big pile of the plastic. Mosquitoes are swarming near the dirty pools of water along the pile. Smoke from burning plastic stings her nose, and it makes her feet back away. So she goes to investigate, and she has to back away because it's really stinky and there's lots of flies, and it's not very sanitary, which means it's not very safe. Probably germs and things are growing here. The goats scamper past and they forage through the trash for food. Her feet stop. She knows too much to ignore it now. So now she's understanding why the goats are eating the bags. They're looking for food in the bags that people might have dropped and accidentally eating parts of the bag instead. So she realizes she has to do something about this now. It's a problem and she needs to take action. Holding her breath, she plucks 1 plastic bag from the pile, and then 2, and then 10, and then 100. So just like they slowly showed up, she slowly gathered them all up. What can we do? Isatu asked her friends. Let's wash them, Fatim, pulling the soap out. And so she has her friends here that are going to help her wash them. Peggy finds clothespins and they clipped the washed bags on the line. So they decide they want to use them. So instead of throwing them away, they're going to repurpose and reuse them. So they wash them clean and dry them out, how they're hanging here. As the bags dry, Isatu watches her sisters crochet. Can you teach me? She says. Wow, yes, of course she says. Her sister shows Isatu the stitches and then hands her a metal tool. Isatu's fingers busy themselves in and out, in and out. Giraffe or thank you, she says. So she just taught her how to crochet. So I think she's getting an idea about what she might be able to do with these bags. Isatu finds a broomstick and carves her own tool from it for wood. What is that for? She asked, her sister asked. Isatu pauses. She and Peggy have an idea. But will their friends think they're crazy? Will the idea even work? Nervously, she explains the plan. So she's explaining what she thinks she's going to try to do. look what's happening. I think she's going to cut the bags into strips. And then it looks like she's going to try, just like her sister was crocheting, she's going to try to weave with them. One friend agrees to help, and then 2, and then 5. The women cut the bags into strips and roll them into spools of plastic thread. Before long, they teach themselves how to crochet with this thread. Naka Libi B, asked the grandmother, which means how does it work? Miss Rayborn's trying my best to pronounce these correctly. I'll show you how you can learn how to pronounce them correctly, please. Andaka, answers Aissatou, which means slow. Some people in the village laugh at us, others call us dirty, but I believe that what we are doing is good. The women crochet by candlelight away from those who mock them and that means they don't understand. So look, they're working with all of this beautiful thread made from the plastic bags that they have reused. And it's very sad to me that they feel like they have to be sort of private about the work that they're doing, but I'm so proud of them for continuing in their action, even though everyone's not necessarily agreeing with what they're doing. So let's see what happens. Until morning comes when they will no longer work in secret. Look what she's made. Fingers sore and blistered, Aissatou hauls the recycled purses to the city. One person laughs at her, and then 2, and then 10. Oh no. And then one woman lays Dalasi coins on the table, and she chooses a purse and she shows it to a friend. One friend, then 2, then 10, and suddenly everyone wants one. So look, they've made these beautiful bags and coin purses and things, and it just took one person to buy one. And then pretty soon, just like the bags, first 1, then 2, then 10, then 100, now one person wants one, 2 people, then 10 people want one. Aissatou fills her own purse with the Dalasi, and she zips it shut and rides home to tell her grandmother that she has made enough money to buy a new goat. That's great. That's a big problem that she had. And look at how her action has helped her solve it. When she passes by the pile of rubbish, she smiles because it's smaller now. She tells herself one day it will be gone and my home will be beautiful. And one day it was. So look at that. No plastic bags anymore. Look, her child has grown up. They have more goats because she has been making something and selling it so that she could make money for her own home and for her own family while also reusing and recycling and repurposing. So one of the things that I love about this book, there's so many more things it tells us about the area of Africa that they're from. There's a whole section that helps you learn how to pronounce the words. And Miss Rayborn did not do it perfectly for sure, but I did try, and where I learned is right here. So, for example, I learned how to say the version of their money, Dalasi, because it explains it to me here in the glossary. There's also more information about the time when this happened, and also it suggests more books that you can read. This is the actual Aissatou right here. This is a picture of her. I'm going to hold it up so you can see it a little bit better in 2014. So this happened and this book was written just about 5 years ago. This is something that is newly happening in our world, an action that is being taken. So thanks for listening to the book with me. The next thing we're going to do is talk about how to use that plastic bag to make some yarn of your own.